Hello and welcome to a look at the Vikings for the Commodore 64. A game that was made by Kele-Line. The main individual being responsible was Søren Grønbæk. If that name rings a bell, he later on gave us the absolutely spectacular, flawless, amazing game called Sword of Sodom on the Amiga. Never mind that. The plot of the Vikings is that our friend, the Vikings, has decided that he wants to go and invade a nice little place called Death Island. Either he's incredibly brave or incredibly stupid, or likely a combination of both, but he is not more stupid that he realizes that he will probably need some supplies. So before going to Death Island, he decides to go and visit the less challenging Stoney Island. On arriving on Stoney Island, he realizes that the natives of Stoney Island have nicked his catapult, his sail, and his oar. How they managed to do that within half a second of him landing is a mystery that even Sherlock Holmes would have issues solving, but on top of that they have also managed to take his sword out of his hand. Yeah. So, the task of the Vikings is that he should go around and first and foremost look for his sword so he can actually fight back. That might be a good idea. And then of course find the individual components that he needs to make his ship seaworthy. As we all know, a ship needs a good catapult in order to become seaworthy, but details. What you need to do is you need to find the items as I said, and the catapult is lying on the ground, easily obtained, but the other items you have to get from the buildings. And the way you get them from buildings is that you go and find a ladder so you can scale some walls where there's a torch, and then you start torching the wooden huts. The stone buildings won't catch fire for some reason. And some of the huts will contain the items. The items are in fixed locations, so if you don't want to get 1,000 points for each hut you set fire to, you can just go for the huts that contains the items. Once that is done, you can go back down to your ship and then sail to the northern island, and of course don't go off the side of the screen because the Vikings were convinced that the earth was flat, and that is relevant for this game. You go figure that one out yourself. But once you reach the Death Island itself, you can take it from there. Graphics wise on this game is decidedly average. A bit boring, perhaps a bit bland-ish, but at least the colors are used in such a way that you don't have things overlapping each other and blending together, so you don't know what is what. You can easily identify the individual things. So on that side, I suppose the graphics are serviceable. They move incredibly quickly and smoothly, and that's probably one of the highlights of the game, is that the movement of the graphics and the amount of graphics on screen at the same time, especially spears, is something to mention, because it is actually relatively, or it was at least at that point, relatively impressive. When it comes to the sound design, there are no sound effects at all, and why that is the case, I don't know. I think there's a few playing sound effects here and there, but not any fighting sound effects or anything like that. Was it because they didn't want to bother with the sound effects, or was it because they deemed that the music was so incredibly great that no one would miss the sound effects? I don't know. But of course that leads us to the music, which was done by Ben Daglish, and I don't know how people rate that music. I think it sounds sort of Viking-ish in a very, very, very subtle way, but considering the fact that the tune is looping relatively quickly, it doesn't actually become repetitive. and it is like the highlight of this game overall. The controls are fine. You navigate your Viking around the different islands by moving around on the joystick, and then you use the fire button to throw your sword. Thankfully it comes back. Must be a sword even. I was about to say hammer, but it is a sword. In case someone's wondering, Thor's hammer always returned to him. It was one of the features of Mjolnir, or Mjolnir was the English call it. I think it is something like that, whatever. And when you need to torch a hut, you have to have the torch, surprise, and then you hold down fire in front of the entrance to the hut, and for about a second, and then it will go up in flames. The gameplay is fairly obvious. Go around, get your items, try to avoid taking too much damage by trying to dispose of the infinitely respawning and spawning enemies, and try to get the items, get to a boat, sail to the North Island, and see if you can beat the game from there. I couldn't, for reference. The thing is about this game, you have a shield. Well, you don't have a shield, but there are some shields lying around on the ground that you can pick up so that will reduce the amount of damage you take. But you have to be constantly moving in order to minimize the amount of damage you take, and sometimes it could feel a bit pointless to actually fight enemies because they will come back. So by and large, you're much better off just trying to avoid the 9 million spears being thrown at you, which is easier said than done. The fun thing about this game is the fact that it's called the Vikings and there's only one Viking present. He's got 5 lives, so I suppose you could always tell yourself that he's got 4 identical twin brothers, because of course he's the 5th himself, and once one of them keels over, another one will immediately step in and pretend to be the first one. I don't know. From a pure action point of view, there's plenty of it, but is it interesting action? I'm not so sure about that. I have a sneaking suspicion though that the amount of action put into this game is put in order to compensate for the fact that the game is relatively short. Not that I've done anything to verify or test or confirm, but I have a feeling that if you didn't have all the men to contend with and dodging spears left, right and center, you could likely complete this game in about 4 minutes. I'm not the greatest fan of when designers decide to throw in these oddball mechanics in order to give a game a sense of longevity that wouldn't otherwise be present, but overall, the game is not great. It's not epic, it's not awesome, it's not amazing, but on the flip side, it's not horrible either. I don't want to keep calling games average, so for the purpose of this specific game, I think I'll leave it up to you, the viewer, to decide what you think about it. On that note, thanks for watching, take care, see you next time, bye bye for now.